I'd like to remind the general public that this meeting is being live streamed through Wilkes County Schools YouTube channel. The public can go to YouTube to find the video or go to Wilkes County Schools Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages and the Wilkes County Schools website for the YouTube link. Everybody has got the agenda in front of them. Do I hear a motion on it?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the agenda for the Monday, April 7th special board meeting.
Second.
All right, it's been moved by Mr. Breen, seconded by Mrs. Boyette, that we approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, so we've got three items on our agenda today. First up, we have the Dewberry Facility Condition Assessment Report.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Today, we have with us from Dewberry Engineers Incorporated, Ms. Logan Hodges and Ms. Sarah Hebert. They have been working on our facility condition assessment reports. We engaged Dewberry to complete our facility condition assessment reports for the purpose of capital planning for the board, and also to complete our DPI reports that are due every 5 years for facilities and facility needs. So what we have before you today is a draft report for all of Wilson County Schools, which is the top, and then a sample of a school report and how the school report will be put together and structured for the board as well. Vic being the sample report for your review for today. I'll ask Ms. Hodges and Ms. Hebert to go over these reports, and then at that point, just we'll ask for the approval of the format of the reports for today.
Hey everyone, I'm Logan Hodges with Dewberry Engineers, and I have Sarah Siebert here that will help through this presentation. So what we will go through first is just the reporting of these reports. The first report being the Wilson County Schools Facility Condition Assessment full reporting. So if you would turn with me to the table of contents, this will list everything that is in the report, going from the executive summary, master cost summary, master building summary, deferred maintenance, a glossary of terms, and then all of your building reports will be detached in separate reports. And if you flip through, you'll see all of the schools, all of the 28 facilities, admin, and schools that were reviewed. And moving through to the executive summary, starting on page 1. This executive summary goes through your project scope, as well as what a facility condition assessment means for the district, the assessments that were performed. Flipping over to page 4, it continues on and lists what deliverables were created throughout the project that are incorporated here in the front-end document, as well as each individual school report. It goes down through the priorities that were established by Wilson County Schools from the beginning of the project that we prioritized our recommendations to, from priority 1 through priority 5. Then it goes into deficiency categories, which are assignments by Wilson County Public Schools from the very beginning. Then it goes into a cost summary and soft cost understanding, which you will see when you look at the cost summary, what these soft costs actually mean, and what are applied to the cost for your capital planning. And then we go into the facility condition index.
So now, if I'm understanding this correct, we are just approving the format today. Is that correct? All right. So any specific questions that we have, like district-wide or specific schools, will be handled in a separate meeting?
Absolutely.
All right, so,
May I ask you a question?
yes.
In choosing which facility you presented today, did you pick Vic because it was the most critical and having the most priority, or this was a random selection?
This was selected by, Dr. Williams and others.
So I'll address the questions about.
Yes, ma'am.
Williams and others. Did you pick this because it is the most dire, in terms of service, or having the highest priority in terms of our needs?
Yes, ma'am. At the time when we were engaging, when we were going through the process of having the RFQ went out. Once we attained Dewberry to do the report, I had presented to the board that we would go with Vic because we knew that Vic would have, there would be areas of need that we would be able to denote inside of a report for you to be able to look at. And no, as far as the highest need, I mean, there would be an FCI that may be higher at another building, but they would probably be relatively, near the same. But yes, ma'am, that was just during the process of selecting Dewberry and then getting Dewberry on board that this was the request that we had made for the board.
Board members, we have any other questions? Go ahead.
You have a question?
No, I have a comment.
Okay.
I do like the format of this report. It's, I like your verb, you have the text to explain things, but then you have the charts, which I can see. They're even color-coded, so I'll give you, and they're big enough for me to read, so I am very pleased with the way the format came out, and, it seems to be very understandable.
Great, thank you.
Mr. Brown?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the format of the facility condition assessment report as presented.
Second.
All right, it has been moved by Mr. Breen and seconded by Dr. Fitch that we approve the format of the facility condition assessment report. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just as a point, do we need to turn in our drafts?
Yes, please.
Yep.
And we'll put them at the front.
Both copies are just,
Both copies is fine.
All right. All right,
So when we get to having further discussion, will we have access to this again so that we can better go through it rather than having it right at the moment that the presentation is made?
we should, and we should have it for all of the schools,
Yeah.
plus the district.
Yeah.
I think she's gonna
Yes,
change it.
ma'am.
Mr. Chair, I recommend that the board members keep the Wilson County Schools Facility Condition Assessment. That's the final report, but turn in the Vic Elementary one so as not to be confused
All right.
in the future.
We can do that.
We can get confused about something else later.
All right. So moving forward, next on our agenda, we have the draft schematic design for Frederick Douglass Elementary School. Dr. Williams.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. So we do have with us today from Oakley Collier Architects, Ms. Ann Collier and Mr. John Ham. They will be presenting the conceptual schematic design where we are at currently with Frederick Douglass Elementary School for your approval today by the board. And also supporting them, just having members of the team with us today. We have Mr. John Smith, Mr. Kerry Walker, and Mr. Joey Wilkins from Barnhill Contracting who are in the audience with us also. And I will turn it over to Ms. Ann Collier and Mr. John Ham.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
diligently for the last several months, pulling things together for Frederick Douglass and a new design to show you today. So we are going to first, what you have is a copy of the presentation we're about to show, as well as the larger 11 by 17s are separately printed out plans, maybe a little easier to read than what may be printed in the presentation. But so work to date, what we have done as a team, and when I say team, it's not just Oakley Collier, but Oakley Collier and Barnhill and the school system. We have all worked to start this design out the way we want to finish. It's been our goal to bring this back to you in a good manner. So we have gone to visit Jones Elementary, as we understood that was a board preference to use as a basis for design. Great school. We did walk through there probably early, sometime in January, so early in the year. We have done several design team meetings with Barnhill and with the owner, just again establishing priorities, establishing expectations, understanding what was important to you all. We have prepared mostly the conceptual design as a whole. Schematic work is taking it some steps further, so we're in the middle of that right now. So what we have to use a concept with a little schematic work in the background going on. It does, a couple highlights, we started the DPI program requirements. So this does meet your DPI program requirements. And also we've developed some conceptual layouts and elevations that we'll show you as well today. We have also visited the current Frederick Douglass Elementary location at Toys Knot. For the primary reason is we started talking with staff. There are much of the furniture there in the classroom will be reused. So we wanted to plan for that and not just something we picked out of the catalog. So we've got actual layouts you'll see is based on the furniture that will be moved. So we wanted to see how that teaching was going on at Toys Knot. And then also in the last several weeks, probably a month, we've had meetings with the staff here, central staff, to go through the high-level priorities for each individual element, child nutrition, IT, all the different departments, curriculum, and the principal was involved in that. And that brings us to today. So I'll keep going. So this is a site map of the existing Frederick Douglass site. As you know, there is no building there. It's been already taken down. And so we just tried to keep a fresh mind when we looked at this, with also the idea that we do want to bring, our primary goal is to bring this in within your budget, as well as provide the right program for the school. So with that, the layout you'll see, which we'll dig into the plan after this, is based very generally on the on the Jones Elementary, right size to Frederick Douglass. So it's a much smaller school because of the student population. We have separated the car drop-off students and the bus drop-off. The front bottom of the screen is the car drop-off. At the back, the buses go in at the back and come around to the rear of the school. And also we decided we will extend the drop-off space, the loading and unloading zone, double car drop-off. That is still under some design. We're going through the specifics of some of that, but this is generally how we're looking at that. We are utilizing existing entries and exits as much as possible because that is something they're already in place. We don't have to recreate that. They're in a good location. So we've modified our plans to show that. We are keeping the ball fields, so we're going to work through those, as well as creating new playgrounds for you for that. We're also going to, the blue dashed line that you see on the screen is the existing ditch, or a blue line stream. We're working through the technicalities of that and how we must deal with that, but that will be something we'll take care of in the design and make sure that complies with all the state regulations for it. It will have access over that to the playgrounds, so we're, again, just from a design perspective, working through what that looks like. And at any time, if you have questions, please ask, but there's time in the end too, so. Yes, ma'am.
One thing, when you were talking about we were going to use the existing furniture. I wanted to point out that that is all new furniture. That's why they're not gonna be using old furniture, it is all new furniture.
Thank you for that. It is, yes, it is. It has just been purchased and it is really great condition, so, we did wanna make sure we had sizes and everything appropriately drawn, so, yes, thank you for helping us. So the plan layout, oh, yes.
On the Jones plan, I guess, if I look at, you have
Hand side of the screen. And that drop off there are for the buses and for the buses to park and the staff to drive the buses to park there. Cafeteria, workers also back there. So that's a little more of the utility entrance back in that side. The staff will park in the front, on the bottom of the screen. And right now, we're bringing cars in, we're extending the drive space. I think we're working through that with our civil engineer. This is the concept as it stands right now. It will only get better from this. We're calculating how many cars, what that looks like from a DOT perspective, the transportation, school transportation group of DOT. And then staff will park, staff and visitors will also park in the front.
in the front
Yes.
as it Jones.
Yes, the same. And all of the drop-offs will be covered. You'll see that in the plan, the next plan here. So, this is essentially the Jones layout, again loosely, and size for the Frederick Douglass, capacity, which we're working with a 400 student capacity with a 500 student core. So what that means is all of our central spaces, and the box in the middle of the screen are our core spaces. They'll have, you'll enter into the bottom of the page. To your right will be the media center, much like Jones. To your left is administration. What we have done in here, which is our standard for schools for safety, is all visitors, when they enter those front doors, must go into the office area to check in. And then they're held there until they can be taken through the school. So no one will be able to just come and walk through the school. We also have several other areas that we contain and control access within the school. So for instance, people can go when they're there after hours. So we have divided this plan into primary and elementary grade levels. To the left-hand side of the page is the primary, so that's the pre-K through second grade wing. Each grade level has 4 classrooms, pre-K 1 classroom, and EC 1 classroom. We will have separated playgrounds for pre-K and EC, as well as the primary K2 playgrounds will also be on that wing, off of that wing. On the right-hand side of the page is the elementary, the 3-5 classroom wing, and again, 4 classrooms for 3rd grade, and because of the population, DPR requires 3 classrooms for the 4th and 5th. However, those students, there's more classrooms, more students in those classrooms, so the population still works out within the way Frederick Douglass's numbers are. And there's also, because of the layouts of the classrooms are very similar, there's the option that they can maneuver during school years, and if you have larger 4th grade 1 year and less 3rd grade, that's easily handled in here. Both classroom wings have room for expansion out of the back. There's room for at least 4, if not 6 more classrooms there. So, and again, those were some placement on site, how we place them on site. Again, each classroom wing has a resource classroom as well as a teacher work space. Obviously, toilets to support and IT and those types of spaces to support the wings. Back into the central portion, which is where our hub, I guess, of the school is, the core spaces. That is kitchen, cafeteria, multi-purpose, art, music, all the classes that all students, all the spaces that all the students go to. We do have a dedicated STEM classroom within the media center, that was a request. I think at Jones, it's contained in the big open space for the media, and as we worked through that, it was determined it'd be better that if it were self-contained in the media, so for noise issues more than anything. And we have room for another classroom space in the media, and then we accommodated the volumes of books for that. I'm sorry. And then I guess the other couple important things to point out, Barn Hill has done a great job at having have an inventory of all the historic items that came out of Frederick Douglass. So we're working through that right now on how to accommodate those into the building to keep the heritage for the school. So you will see those as we move forward. We're still working through what that looks like, where they go, what those things are. But there's a great inventory of things, and it won't be a problem to include them in the plan. Any questions on the plan as it stands? It is color-coded with the legend, so if specific spaces are identified that way. We have gone forward through to look at some elevations. Don't pay attention to the colors. We haven't chosen colors yet. This is just sort of standards out of our program, but we are looking, the top elevation is the front elevation, so we are, and I guess probably important to point out to you, for the construction of this, we kept it, the Jones plan works great because we are looking at 3, I'll call them boxes of construction. So classroom wings are their own construction. The main core is its own construction. We are utilizing a pre-engineered structural frame. The way we've laid this out, when this school is finished, you'll walk in the school and you won't know that that's the framing for the school and it's well designed. So, i.e., and where I say that is classroom intersections are on the framing. So we won't have bump outs in the middle of the room like this. They'll be contained at the intersections of classroom walls and those types of things. Again, on the front elevation, the tall windows you see are the media center. We had early discussions with Barnhill about percentages of exterior materials, brick, glass, metal, those types of things. So we're working through that as in right now percentages of space based on budget, and all that seems to be working in line with where we are with the budget. And the bottom elevation is the rear, so you'll see the 2 drop-offs for the bus on the front and the rear. Pretty straightforward. We are using a metal roof. That's one of the baselines. And then just a front perspective for the main entry. It is covered all the way from drop-off to the front door. So once you get out of the car, you should be under cover all the way in. And then our next steps, we're just going to continue on with this. We have some deadlines coming up internally with our team and with Barnhill to give them, they've already been working on pricing from this concept standpoint, and then we're working through the next stages of design to keep that alignment going. So right now we feel good about that. The goal, I think our goal date is August, sometime in August, to get a 90% set to Barnhill for their construction pricing. But there's many sets just given along the way, so we've got other deadlines, so they'll keep up with that. That's where we are. We have more team meetings scheduled, I think one next week, to walk through some internal issues too. And I'd love to answer any questions. I think that's, and I can go back to any slide that we need to. Anything I missed, John?
No, the only thing I would add is on the expandability, we do have probably more capability on the
Kindergarten.
1-2 wing. I think we probably have space for at least 4 classrooms, and on the 2 through 5 classroom wing, we probably have 6
Okay.
with the current where
With
we're
the
anticipating
current
the
layout.
site layout today.
I'd just like to make a comment.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been through this school several times, or at least a similar floor plan of it, and it's a really functional school. But I'd like to commend y'all for how quickly y'all got this together
Thank
and
you.
brought it to us.
Thank you, thank you. It's been a fun project. I mean, we're excited about this and want to do a good job for you, so it's a fun project.
From a security standpoint, what are your thoughts on how everything is laid out? Are you able to shut down certain wings that you need to?
I'll go back to that. Yes, so on this, if you think again in 3 different building types, each building will have sets of doors that separate it off from the others for sure, as the classrooms or the hallways that connect, that's to keep glass in all the classrooms, to keep our code distances in play and all of that. But those wings will be separated somewhere, probably not in the connector, but into the building itself, right at the building. And then the main area, we really see that we want to keep the media center as a controlled access space with the access to the toilets behind it on the hallway. And then again, the cafeteria and the multipurpose room also could be after hours, but we would have another set of doors right before that connector. So that main section will probably have 2 zones, controlled zones.
Just right there in the office?
Yes.
Vestibule?
Yes. And then I did not point out, we have the multipurpose room showing with seating, and that was just to confirm for us that we could put the whole student body in the multipurpose room. So but it definitely also will have its own amenities for playtime and basketball and things like that. So athletics as well as just a setup with chairs. Any other questions? We are right at 60,000 square feet. I didn't tell you that, but that's in the documentation as well. And that was our goal from day one, so we feel like we've met your requirements there.
Well, Mr. Chair,
Mr. Green?
I'd move to approve the draft schematic design for Frederick Douglass Elementary School as presented.
All right. It's been moved by Mr. Breen, seconded by Dr. Fitch and Mr. Batts, that we approve the schematic design for Frederick Douglass Elementary School. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
very much.
All right, and the last thing that we have on our agenda today is the 25-26 local current expense and capital outlay budgets. Dr. Williams. Or Ms. Collins?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Collins, I'm sorry.
You're fine. Okay, so good afternoon. Today, we are presenting the Wilson County Schools proposed budget request. You do have a revised copy in front of you. There was only 1 or 2 items that was revised on this sheet, but when I did make changes to the draft, it did kind of change the layout. So the only thing that's different is we moved a picture to the last page. So that's why you got another handout. Okay, so if you'll turn with me to page 2. On page 2, it kind of gives you a brief discussion of, there are 2 major components of our budget, the operating budget and the capital improvements budget. You know, the operating budget pays for our day-to-day cost of operating the school system. That's our salaries, benefits, our contracted services, our supplies, materials, maintenance, transportation, utilities. The primary source of funding for the operating budget comes from state, federal, and county funding, as well as grants, fees, fines, and forfeitures, and interest income. The capital improvement budget, or the building program, pays for the maintenance and upkeep of our facilities, renovations, replacement of our activity buses, equipment, and athletic renovations. Below that, you have a a breakdown of our funding sources and the percentages of each. Our state public school fund is 59% of our total budget, which is $86.2 million. Our federal funding is 19% at $27.9 million. And I would like to make mention here that 19% does include right now some federal ESSER monies that we have left and some figures that normally wouldn't be in that percentage. So that's typically around 10% instead of 19%. Local special revenue, our unassigned, is 2% at $3.1 million. Our county appropriation and fines and forfeitures is 20% of our total budget at $28.7 million. Currently, our operating budget is at $146,091. Do you have any questions regarding our operating budget? All right, page 3 is an overview of some of the needs that we're facing in our district. However, you know, this budget, there's a lot of variables that play into this proposed budget. There's a lot of moving parts and pieces that goes with this, but these are primarily the areas that we have the most need in. There are some legislative impacts that are gonna affect our proposed budget in a big way this time. These are estimates, but these are also what DPI is proposing that the increases will be. Currently, the retirement budget or the retirement percentage is at 24.04%. That's our current rate. The proposed rate for 25-26 is 26%. So what does that look like and how will that impact us as a district? Take, for example, a 10-month teacher that earns $45,000 annually. The current rate at 24% is $10,818. At the projected new rate of 26%, that would go to $11,700. That's $882 per employee. Increase, yes ma'am. Underneath, if you look at that chart, it goes back to 2020, and you can see over the last several years, the increases in cost. Retirement and hospitalization typically does go up from year to year, but you can see the changes in that table. In 2020, we were at 1.2 to 2024, 1.6 million.
I think the thing to point out too in these first couple ones are, why we single these out in this format, is that these are legislative increases. These are not optional. These are things we have to do, so we cover these first. Much like when you pay your bills at home, you have to cover certain things first. So this is really what drives the entire budget request. These have to be paid for before anything else. And our budget is driven by people. We're a people business. So when you look at the impact on 2%, doesn't sound like a whole lot, but $882 per employee, which is definitely needed, has a huge impact for an organization like a school system or any organization. So, but you can see the impact from the last several years with the rate has gone up. But these are not optional. This is first thing out of the budget. So that's why we put this first in our request to the commissioners and to the board when the board's budget, so.
Any questions about the retirement piece? Okay. Now, if you'll turn to page 4, we're going to look at the hospitalization rates for the 25-26 school year. And again, as Dr. Mills said, this is not negotiable. This is, they tell us what we have to pay, and it comes off the budget. Excuse me. The current rate for hospitalization is $8,095. I have to take a drink, excuse me. The proposed rate for the 25-26 allergy season, what can I say? The proposed
You
rate
need
for the 25.
hospitalization too?
I know, I ain't-
You need some pie?
Yes.
I mean, some people do anything to get out presenting.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I never seen the giggles, yeah.
The 25-26 proposed rate is $8,500 per employee. The state does cover for state-paid employees, but we have to cover the cost of our locally funded employees. That's a $405 increase. At 172 locally funded employees, that's about $840,000. Again, there's a chart here showing you the, from 2020 to 2024, the increases over time, the last 5 years. Is there any questions on that hospitalization piece? Okay, if you'll turn with me to page 5. Page 5 highlights some of our priority areas. Employee compensation and benefits, the impact of the charter schools, safety and security, and then transportation costs for exceptional children. The provision of the state-required salary increases for certified employees has a huge impact on our budget through our supplement pay, our salary, our benefits, the salary schedules for our non-certified staff have lagged behind the state rates. And we want to put an emphasis on placing those people, employees, where they should be. Our skilled employees such as maintenance, our staff, our transportation staff, and et cetera. We feel like that we need to do something to catch these people up to where they should be in salary. Supplemental funding, you all approved the 1% increase, additional increase to the supplemental salaries, and the cost of that is a recurring cost, which is $770,000. And below the supplemental funding, you see that the chart, and that shows the new rates with the 1% increase per each classification, the 7% for classified, the 9% for certified, 10% for elementary principals and assistant principals, 11% for middle school principals and assistant principals, and 12% for high school principals and assistant principals. And that total cost is $6.5 million. Any questions on the salary increases or the supplemental funding? Okay, turn with me to page 6. Charter schools, we have no control over the money that has to go out to the charter schools. We are required by the state to turn those funds over to the charter schools. At current, the 25-26 budget, I'm estimating that there's going to be about $4.5 million in local money that will have to be reallocated from our budget to charter schools. That comes right off the top of our budget. That comes off that $28 million that we had this year. That the charter school funding comes right off the top of that. That's a pretty big hit to our budget. We currently have 26 different charter schools, and currently we're paying about $459,798 a month, which is a total of $4.5 million. Any questions about the charter schools?
Not as they pertain to the budget.
Okay. Moving on to safety and security. We have the ongoing need for school safety and security and crisis prevention in our county, or in our country. We need to implement additional equipment and training for such equipment such as the open gates and the Evolve systems to help address the safety of our students and our staff. In 24-25, we did purchase 5 open gates that were that cost of those was $99,158. That was our cost. There was additional funds that we used from a grant to pay the remaining cost. Those open gates are at Bedingfield High, Fike High, and Hunt High. Open Gate is a CEI-made, fully open, active walk-through weapons detection system. It's designed for high put security environments, capable of detecting a wide range of metallic threats without requiring people to remove their belongings. We also purchased 3 Evolve systems that totaled $381,234, and those were also at Bedingfield High, Fike High, and Hunt High. The Evolve weapons detection systems are also designed to screen and scan people in bags, and those systems do display a red box around any potential threats. And Dr. Williams, do you want to add anything about those systems, or?
No, ma'am, not other than, again, as Ms. Collins has mentioned, we paired local money along with our safety grant to make sure that we had these implemented in our 3 traditional high schools. And we've had a high amount of success with those, and I believe that it's been a tremendous additional safety feature in our 3 traditional high schools.
Thank you, thank you. Additionally, in the proposed budget, on the last page, I did include a $350,000 budget for safety and security. That's something that we have not budgeted for in the past, but thought it was necessary to put in the budget. Yes, ma'am.
You said that, the open gates, it was $99,000, that was our cost, and then we used the grant to pay the rest of it. How much was the grant? Was it $400,000 or? So let me finish the question.
True cost.
The Evolve systems were $381. Is that how much it cost us? And then the rest of it was paid? I'm trying to determine what did Wilson County have to pay and what did we get grants for?
These are the amounts that we paid,
Okay.
that came out of our funds.
But it shows that it's expensive.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
Very
And
expensive.
they're for multi-years as well, as 5 years for licensing softwares and things of that nature.
So it's not a one-time cost and we won't have to continue to pay each year.
Yes, ma'am. That cost that is listed here and what we paid with the grant is that we're paid for what we need to pay for our 5 years that we're in currently. But as time goes by, if we add other schools, we'll have to utilize our safety grant with any additional monies to add in, say, middle schools, for example, if we choose to do that. And then at the end of the 5 years that we have for our systems, then we have to evaluate whether, are we going to, pay the additional money to purchase it, or are we going to get the new updated equipment? So each 5 years, we have to revisit that.
But there again, if it's on this sheet of paper, it's what Wilson County Schools had to pay from our budget, not from anything.
Yes, ma'am.
That's correct. I think what you're alluding to, which is good feedback, is it might be good of us to put down, this is local cost, but to show the additional costs associated with the licensing and other additional costs across the interval, plus the grant fees, because it is more than that to cover it. And we did talk about that, and the numbers do get get cumbersome, but we can do a table to show the overall cost and the licensing, plus the cost of the rental, if you will, and the equipment, so to speak. But, it's way more than that.
And
That's
that
why we
was
keep
the
kicking in.
point that I was
Mhm.
making.
I know- I follow
Yes,
you.
this is expensive, but, there's a lot more that went with
Yeah.
it that we didn't have to pay.
Yeah,
that
the
came
grant
through our
really
money.
helped, but to show the true picture, you have to show both streams. But for folks to have the expectation of safety and have the coverage, it's gonna cost more money. And,
Right.
and that's the expectation, which is why we got it in there, but it's definitely gonna cost way more than this. So we can add that in there with the board's okay, if that's what you like to see. I do think that's good feedback, to put that in there and break it out, because it's not a hidden cost, but it is, I think it's shocking to people when they see the overall cost of what it takes to put one of these systems in a school for that period of time.
With Ms. Collins having added an amount to our upcoming budget, and these figures only represent our 3 traditional high schools. They do not cover or include
That's
our
what I'm trying
early college academies.
That's right.
And if you then look at expanding to the middle
Middle
schools,
schools.
then the cost is even more prohibitive.
How about if we work something up that shows what the overall cost is plus what we're paying locally, and then show what the true cost would be across the middle, just to see the extremes of it, because I think the expectation is school systems should have this in place. So if we should have it in place, here's what it would cost. I think that'll paint a better picture. So I kind of think that's what you're getting at. Does that help? Make sense? Okay, we can do that.
Okay, any more, is there any questions about the any more questions about the safety piece listed on the sheet? Okay, the next section, special education contracted services. For 23-24 school year, we spent the $1.1 million. For 24-25, as of March the 12th, when I pulled these figures, we've spent $944,920. To get us through the year, I'm projecting we're gonna need at least $1.4 million for exceptional children, or children with disabilities, and pre-K transportation costs. We do utilize the yellow buses as much as we can, but we do have to use White House Transit as well to meet the needs of our students. Is there any questions on the special education contracted services piece?
Am I correct that we have to pay for this, and our reimbursement from the federal or state funds is set and fixed? So the point I'm trying to make is this is having to come out of our local funds because we don't have any more. We have to get them to school, and we don't have money from state and federal to pay for it.
That is correct, Mrs. Boyer, yes. That's strictly coming from local funds. Okay, any more questions about that piece? Okay, if you'll turn over to page 7.
Dr. Williams, maybe we'll go through some of these.
Yes, sir. In your presentation, Ms. Collins has listed capital outlay projects that the board had approved that we have done from 23-24 on. So with 23-24, the completed projects with our capital outlay was a purchase of 1 activity bus and Vincent Bynum Elementary School ADA playground. And we also completed the painting inside of Forest Hills Middle School and Spate Middle School. In 2024, 2025, the completed capital outlay projects for that fiscal year, that was the activity bus lease. So we did the activity bus lease, which allowed for the addition of 9 new activity buses to Wilson County Schools fleet, which has been absolutely
That's
tremendous.
still so awesome. Let me just go
Absolutely
out ahead and
tremendous.
say that's still amazing. Sweet.
We were also able to complete seal coating and striping at Barnes Elementary School and Fike High School. The multipurpose room at New Hope Elementary School, we were able to put an addition of a storage area inside of that room as well. And we were able to purchase 2 lifts and 4 trailers for our facility services department. So we had, the approval was for lifts, bucket trucks. So what we did was we took that and got 2 lifts, one for the inside and one for the outside. So now we can address needs that need to have a lift on the inside and those that need outside lifts. For 2024, 2025, these are in-progress capital outlay projects. The fire alarm upgrades for Margaret Hearn Elementary School and New Hope Elementary School, they are scheduled for spring break in a couple of weeks to have those upgrades completed. Yes, sir?
Margaret Hearn Elementary School and B.O. Barnes Elementary School.
I apologize, that's correct, yep. That's correct. Margaret Hearn Elementary School and B.O. Barnes will be the 2 schools that will have the fire alarm upgrades over spring break. And we're in progress with our central office elevator. Repairs are being made, but we're installing a new elevator system here at the district office. Yes, ma'am. 2024, 2025, in progress capital outlay projects. These were projects that we additionally did in addition to the capital outlay projects. That was a K-2 playground at Gardner's Elementary School, 3-5 playground at Jones Elementary School, which included an ADA swing, mechanical goal lifts for Bedingfield High School and Hunt High School, a soccer scoreboard for Bedingfield High School, Fike High School, the gym floor, renovating completely the gym floor at Fike High School. Vic Elementary School, a boiler and a burner for their HVAC system. Had a need for a fuel truck. We do run fuel to a few schools here in Wilson County Schools, and we are in need of a fuel truck, so we had to purchase one of those. At the Transportation Department, we had initially thought that we were going to be looking at the tall ceiling fans that are in the bays with some drainage and some parking out in that area. So we're assessing that now just to determine heights and if the lifts on the buses will accommodate it. So we're working through that now to determine how best to utilize that at transportation. Continue to work with Dewberry with our facility condition assessments, and Bedingfield High School, that is our culinary arts program, which was a redesign and a build of the Bedingfield High School Culinary Arts Project, which is going well also. Some completed projects that we've done outside of our capital outlay projects. We installed new doors outside of Fike High School. These are security doors that are connected to our card access, so we installed 2 of those. Each year, at the beginning of the year, we provide landscaping to all the schools as well as pressure washing to the front of the schools. And we completed the game art design classroom as well. So the culinary arts and the game art design, that was the joint resolution between the Board of Education and the Board of Commissioners for those projects.
Okay, if you'll turn with me to page 8. Page 8 is a breakdown or a summary of how the funding that we would like to ask for and what group or budget it would, and the amounts that it would be in. If you note that the 24-25 and the 25-26, there are some differences. Those are primarily this is like the RUST grant, the RUST Distance Learning Grant at the bottom there. That money was moved to technology. There's some areas that I went back and looked at last year and prior years and determined that the money could be utilized somewhere else. None of the programming was cut. It was just redistributed and allocated as needed. The total, again, one other thing, again, there's a safety and security budget that has been put into place. Is there any questions about any of the categories or the amounts that we're proposing?
Probably just asking for clarity.
Yes, ma'am.
That the gentleman's agreement is not included, her prize included, but from my understanding, we received money for the gentleman's agreement.
That is correct. That is correct. And so we're gonna utilize the grant money for the gentleman's agreement. And Her Pride, there was no budget for Her Pride, so we did include, an amount in the 50,000 in for Her Pride. We felt like, that program needed some funding as well. Is there any other questions? Any questions or comments on the categories or amounts? There are two, if you look, there is a transportation of pupils and a local transportation line. The transportation of pupils is the special education contracted services, and the local transportation is our local budget, which consists of salaries, certifications, any other contract needs that we might have. We do have state transportation monies, but there's only certain things that we can use that for. We are restricted to what we can use our state transportation funds for, so we have to have that local pot of money to supplement that.
I don't have a question, I have a comment. Through the years, I have seen different formats for our budget request. This is a very thorough and more direct explanation for the dollars that we are requesting. I like the format. You did an excellent job with that. Thank you very much. And if I'm in order, I'd like to make a motion at this point.
Absolutely are.
I move that the board approve the Wilson County Schools budget request for 25-26 as presented by the administration.
Second.
Would you consider a friendly amendment, since we made some amendments to, or ask that some amendments be made,
In terms of,
reflecting the true cost of the safety equipment on page 6 and changing the OPO bonds on page 7?
yes, absolutely. The maker of the motion accepts the friendly amendment.
All right, so it has been moved and by Dr. Fitch and properly seconded by Mrs. Powell that we approve the 2025-2026 local current expense and capital outlay budgets with the amendments notated. Is there any discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries unanimously.
I see.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think that that is all that we have on our agenda for today. All right, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and presenting to us, and we really appreciate what y'all have done.
I'll second the motion.
All right, so it has been moved by Mr. Breen and seconded by Dr. Fitch that we adjourn. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries unanimously. We are adjourned.
Yes, and, Ms. Collins, we really do like that format.
Good job. Good job, too.
All right, I don't think all this is gonna fit in this folder. Unless I fold it.
That was not bad. In and out.
I think just the VIC report, and they're gonna pick that up. Oh, yeah. Bye, Ms. Powell. Yeah,
Bye, Ms. Powell.
I think you brought up several very solid points. throughout the entire meeting.
This is the best feeling boardroom I have been in
Because the
all these
compressor's
years.
dead.
That's-
The compressor's dead and you're happy. The compressor is burnt out and
I
you're
am,
happy.
I am thrilled.
That's crazy.
I didn't have to use my
crazy talk.
hand warmers, I didn't have to put on gloves, I didn't have to do any of that.
Finally had to start fanning over here.
I did. Going into heat shock.
It felt wonderful.
the compressor.
Yeah. And then they're doing
I,
some
I,
wiring.
I didn't break it because I
Burn it
knew
out.
it would mean a bill, but I,
Well, now they can start putting wet heating and air and plumbing in.
No.
Okay.
When the world ends, I'm going for the Honda minivan because it will survive anything.
Thanks, this one.
I'm telling you. That,
Could you,
that thing